You may find yourself asking, is my Restoration Shaman ready for Phase 5 and the gates of AQ? Well, you also may find yourself stumbling upon the WoWClassicBiz.com pages for that kind of information. Well, I'm here to tell you that I strongly disagree with the Restoration Shaman Classic WoW Abyss page because they have staggering amounts of items like Shimmering Gaeta. I don't think anybody's clamoring to play with a Shimmering Gaeta, let alone a Pendant of the Fallen Dragon or Ring of Blackrock. I think most of you would probably agree that these are not the best in slot items for Phase 4. So let me show you a page that is probably more accurate. This is the egregious Restoration Shaman best in slot list progressive version. You can find it at classicwow.live. And as you can see, there's a lot more thought put into this guide as there is in the Classic WoW Abyss guide. Okay, so if you are a Restoration Shaman and you've been doing it for a while, you'll realize that there are two different styles of healing with the Resto Shaman in raids. There is the full Tier 1 tank healing build, which primarily utilizes Healing Wave, and there is the primarily chain heal using build using Tier 2 3-piece, and then basically the best items you have other than that. So just briefly going over this, you can see the Tier 1 8/8 is basically just all Earth Fury, obviously, so that's easy. So for Phase 4, going into AQ, you're going to want Jindo's Evil Eye. That's pretty much by far the best healing neck you're going to be able to get, and it's basically the best healing neck for both schools of healing as a shaman. The best alternative at this moment is probably the necklace from Ramstein the Gorger and Strat Life. But Jindo's Evil Eye is really where you want to get, and you can hit ZG a lot, and if you're unlike me, you probably already have it. So the first difference here is the Shroud of Pure Thought versus the Height of the Wild. With the Earth Fury set, your raw stats are going to be pretty crap. Your raw healing is going to be pretty low compared to the best in slot pieces in the other school of healing. So what a lot of shaman do is they kind of just get the best offset pieces for raw healing. So you'll see that, Shroud of Pure Thought, it gives up a little bit of healing for some more MP5. It's not a huge difference, but a lot of people seem to think that, Height of the Wild, which is generically more raw healing, would be a better choice for the Earth Fury set. Now, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference in this slot, especially, but, your mileage may vary. It's his guide, he's better than I am, so, roll with it. Okay. Now, the bands here, again, this is going to be the same band. Cauterizing band and Pure Elementium band. These are ideal. The cauterizing band is not even much better than the marker forwarding or whatever, so you shouldn't have much of an issue getting at least one of these and the marker forwarding from the In Dreams quest. You could also look to acquire the Ring of Blackrock, although I personally don't really understand why you would want it. It is an option, and options are great. Now, obviously, you'll want a Rejuvenating Gem, which is a hard-to-come-by item if it ever drops, and then it's highly coveted by pretty much every healer in your raid, so good luck getting it. There are, of course, alternatives. Shard of the Scale, even though it is pure MP5, it's a lot of MP5 on a trinket, so it's definitely worth picking up if you have the opportunity. Briarwood Reed, it's just good raw plus healing, nothing wrong with that. Get your Zandalarian Hero Charm, pretty good. It's good, easy enough to get in ZG. You can pug it, you can do whatever. As a healer, it's pretty good for you, so you should have dibs on it, at least to some point. Other options here are the Burst of Knowledge, which that can serve you pretty well for a long time until you get, say, a Rejuvenating Gem or some of the other more coveted trinkets. Nothing wrong with that. Prefer Second Wind myself, given the option, of course. You should at least have a Second Wind and, this Enamored Water Spirit. I don't love this, but it's pretty cool to have it. I mean, there's no reason not to, right? It's an easy ST quest. You should have it. Now, you pretty much don't need me to tell you that Luckamere is probably the best weapon you're going to get as a shaman, but good luck getting it. Secondarily to that is Claw of Chromagus, which isn't that much worse, still worse. Jindo's Hexer is a decent alternative to the Aura Stone Hammer and MC if you've gotten unlucky with the other drops. I mean, if you're like me, you're still using the Aura Stone Hammer, but you would rather not be. Now, the offhand, if you can sit here and grind AV until your eyes bleed, Lay of the Life Giver is where you want to be. It's just so much raw healing that it's just going to outperform the other ones, unless you need a shield, in fights with a bunch of ads and so on. Red Dragon Skull Protector is for non-PvP people or non-AFK in the cave people. It's good, but it's not as good as Lay of the Life Giver in most situations. You got your Malstar's Defender from Phase 1 Ragnaros. It looks like the worst shield of the lot. I mean, it's got MP5, but hey, why do we need MP5 right now? I don't know how much that's going to change in AQ, but I think you can get MP5 and mana stats out of the other sets that you should probably just go for one of these over that. That being said, if you don't have access to one of these, then Malstar's Defender is not bad. Totems are currently not in the game, so that's not really worth looking at. Now, for more in-depth conversations here, the Tier 2 3-piece set, it's more interesting to talk about than the Tier 1 Earth Fury style. You're really just going to want to go for the overall best pieces you have for that particular slot. You can't give up the Tier 2 3-piece because it just makes your chain heals insane. So you really just, you're looking for a combination of at least 4 of the 10 storms. The helmet, the bracers, the gauntlets, the belt, and even sometimes the boots. You could do that. The shoulders and the breastplate, they're not really great, but if you need the tier 2 3-piece bonus, you're going to use them anyway because it's that worthwhile. So best pieces here, you're still going to be wearing Robes of the Exalted. I know you're all excited about that. Yay. You got your Wild Growth Spalders, really nice long lasting shoulders. You hopefully have already gotten an MC. Salamander Scale Pants or Empowered Leggings. In my opinion, ideally you'll want the Empowered Leggings just because there's so much more raw healing on here. But it's not, the Salamander Scale Pants is fine. There's a good chance you already have them. It's MC. I wouldn't sweat over it if you don't have Empowered Leggings, no big deal. I said earlier that you could use the Tier 2 boots instead of Boots of Pure Thought. The Tier 2 boots aren't awful, but the Boots of Pure Thought are just so much better than them that you really want to use the other 10 storm pieces instead. These offset pieces, we've already went over those, so you know what you're doing there, friends. But I'm going to link this guide in the description. That's the word I'm looking for. Full credit to this. It actually is a ton of useful information on here, unlike the Classic WoW Biz whatever. And he also has a very nice restoration guide in general for shamans that I'll link as well.